But we don't have to answer a single question that you ask. Yeah, no, we don't have to answer your questions.
You do.
No, you can ask me anything you want, but I'm not obliged to tell you anything.
Okay. Do you have your ID on you?
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Southern Draw Law. My name is James White, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, and former police officer. Today's case comes to us out of Nashville, Tennessee, and was shared by the YouTube channel Reba Audit's 515050, and it depicts a run-in that Reba had with the Nashville Metro Police Department a few months back and her handling of the situation. First off, I'm always blown away at how little police officers in major cities know about the law. Nashville is the epicenter of law and policy in Tennessee. Having a rural Tennessee agency with 25 officers or less is one thing, but Nashville Metro literally has every resource known to man. They have 1,650 sworn officers and a helicopter, for God's sake. It's pathetic that they don't have better training than this. Now, I've edited out all but the portions relevant to our discussion, so you'll need to head over to Miss Reba's channel in order to view the video in its entirety and give her the love that she deserves. Tell her Southern Draw Law sent you. Now let's get into it.
There's usually not a car parked here. Speak with her, figure out what she was here, why she was here. That's all it's about.
I'm here every night, midnight at 1 o'clock.
Okay, you clean the building?
No, I'm here to fix this right here and carry it to Knoxville.
Okay.
Every night. Been doing this for 5 years.
You guys, look, I have no reason to believe that you're not telling me the truth, okay? All I need...
I promise you, I just unlocked that door with this key.
You have a key for the building?
Yeah,
Perfect.
I went in and got my...
Okay.
This is my job.
Okay. And
Some
again,
people have a job.
thank you. I believe you, I do too. Now, understand from my point of view,
I get it.
being the zone officer, I'm here all the time. I normally don't see a car parked here, which is a little bit weird. That's what we call reasonable suspicion in my job. Okay? When I have that, I have the right to talk to people, ask a couple questions, figure out what's going on, and as long as everything checks out, we all go on our way.
But we don't have to answer a single question that you ask. Yeah, no, we don't have to answer your questions.
You do.
No.
As a police officer, I have that authority.
You can ask me anything you want, but I'm not obliged to tell you anything.
Okay. Do you have your ID on you? Can I please have it? Okay. Sir, do you know who she is? Is she with you?
Please do not.
I'm going to hang on until I get hers.
Okay, so it's pretty clear here that Reba is a boss, and she knows not only what she can and can't do, but Nashville Metro ought to hire her as a consultant because it's obvious that she knows the law better than their officers do. I've watched several of her audits before, and I've always been really impressed with how she handles herself. Now, this may have started out as an arguably reasonable investigation, but it pretty quickly crosses over into an unlawful detention. Very early on, you hear the officer state his reasonable articulable suspicion as, "I'm here every night, there's never a car here, so that's why I'm asking." The man, whose name is Todd, explains that he's also there every night and that he picks up certain items, he carries them to Knoxville, and he's been doing it for many years. Now, both things can be true here at one time, right? I mean, the officer can be coming at times when Todd's not there, or he could be exaggerating. I know that would blow your mind. Now, the man, he could be there every night, but because his visit is brief enough to just get the stuff that he needs and leave, they may never have run into each other. Where it starts to go sideways, constitutionally speaking, is when the officer states, "I have no reason to believe that you're not telling me the truth." Now remember that they can lie to you legally, so that may or may not be enough for a reasonable officer to have his or her suspicions dispelled, but the man does cooperate. He explains that he has keys to the building that he just used to unlock the door, and he gives his ID, even though he's not obligated to do that in Tennessee. Part of the justification for lying to a person might be that the officer doesn't want to alert the person, who might be wanted for a dangerous felony, that he's more suspicious of him than he lets on. Here, had the officer been focused on anything to do with safety or whether the guy was wanted, he would have gone to the car, run his ID, done his checks, and then returned. But because he has a fragile ego, he allows a power trip to push him beyond a reasonable course of investigation and directly into Miss Reba's trap.
So the sooner she gives me her ID, the sooner we can all be on our way.
What's your suspicion now? So he's explained everything to you, so what are your suspicions about me?
As a police officer, when I'm on a call, and I have reasonable suspicion, I have the right to ID everyone I'm talking to.
Well, I don't have to ID to you unless you charge me with a separate crime. You cannot give me for failure to ID because it's none of your business.
The longer you interrupt me, the longer we're going to be here, all right?
Don't talk to me like I'm a child.
Well, then don't act like one.
I'm not.
Here we go. Again, ready? I have his ID. Because I have reasonable suspicion to talk to you, I need your ID. The sooner you give it to me, the sooner we can all be on our way. That's all this is.
Call your supervisor.
Okay, give me your ID and I will.
Can you call your supervisor, please? What's your name, badge number, employee number?
Officer Moss.
I'm asking him.
He is training.
Thank you.
Officer Moss. 40111.
Thank you.
Can
Can you please call your supervisor?
Is that what this is?
Soft sit, not
Sovereign
bowing to your will does not make somebody a soft sit.
Do my job.
And I believe you. Do you know why she's being so difficult with me?
I have no idea.
Okay, all I need is your ID.
It's none of your business.
Ma'am, what's your ID? Where is it? Okay. 17.
What's your definition of a sovereign citizen?
Sovereign citizen is someone who just doesn't cooperate with police. They don't think they have to. Rules and laws don't apply to them.
They do. I don't know why you think I'm a soft sit.
Can you give me your ID?
No.
Why not?
It's none of your business. It's an overreach of your power when you don't have any suspicion that I've committed a crime. This has become 100% your ego.
It's not.
This is all your ego.
Can you verify that? Ma'am, you understand that it's my policy of my department to identify anybody.
Well, I don't care about policy. I care about law.
So the policy follows it.
I don't have to abide by your department's policies. I go by the law. I go by the law. And the law is I don't have to ID to you. Your policy doesn't mean to me.
Ma'am, you do understand that if you refuse to ID yourself, I have to take you to jail.
If you want to arrest me for a separate crime, you can arrest me that as a secondary charge. But it's not a charge in itself.
There's no charge initially. We're just having an encounter with you just to see
Right.
what's going on. And if you would just give me your ID, I could ID you.
Did you call your supervisor?
Not yet, because you haven't given me your ID.
I have asked over and over for a supervisor.
twice.
That's what they're for.
You asked me twice.
I asked you too. Will you call a supervisor?
We'll call one in just a minute, okay? We're
I've
gonna
got a job to do regardless.
And the longer she doesn't give me her ID, the longer you're not going to do your job.
I'm going to do my job. That's my job.
Let me run your ID, okay?
I'm going to go.
He said I was detained because I wouldn't give my ID, and he was doing some punishment.
You see, it's not enough for one person to kiss the blue ring. Every knee shall bow, and every tongue confessed. If not, we get contempt of cop problems, which is what this turns into. And that, friends, becomes the rub, because Miss Reba, who is apparently the man's sister, is an OG. Her knees don't bend for cops. She knows exactly what to do, and I can assure you that this stop is not going to end the way the cops think it will. She brilliantly corrects the officer's ridiculous assertion that she has to answer his questions. I guess he didn't realize that South Park was parody, and he's under the impression that everyone must respect his authority. But Reba lets him know that she doesn't buy that, and she stands her ground. She refuses to ID and correctly defines her rights to refuse questions. But the very best thing she does here is that she demands to know what the updated reasonable articulable suspicion is. And she does that by asking him the question, what is your suspicion now? This is immediately followed by incoherent cop-splaining babble that Reba swats away like smoke rolling off of her cigarette. But her question is a beautiful auditing technique. By asking that, she's able to memorialize the fact that the suspicion should have been dispelled by the combination of her brother's ID and his cooperation in explaining himself. That, in addition to the fact that he had keys to the building and he explained what he was doing. And when all of that didn't work to dispel the suspicion, it shifted the detention to unreasonable under the circumstances. But the real impact her question had was that it stumped the officer. He wasn't expecting her to be competent at this game, and it's then that the officer tells the man that he's keeping his ID and refusing to let him turn to his job simply because she doesn't want to play the game, and he's going to hold him there until she decides to cooperate. And now they're in an unconstitutional standoff fueled by his ego, which she doesn't miss an opportunity to point out. By the way, pointing out a cop's ego when they're on a power trip has about the same effect of telling your wife to calm down when she's pissed off. Here's a pro tip. The difference is that you can box them in on a narrative, sue them after the fact, and use the money you win to buy your wife, who will still be mad, a really nice Louis Vuitton bag. And that leads me to a side note. If Reba's husband ever watches this, I hope he's safe, and I hope he understands that he's never going to win an argument in that house. He might as well not even try. Now let's watch some more of this masterclass on auditing.
You the supervisor? Okay. Yeah, it's almost over. They know I'm right and they know they f***ed up. Am I still detained?
Yes, ma'am. Hey, Todd, is this your car?
Don't answer.
Yeah,
It is.
that's what the driver's license is.
Hey, Todd, real quick. So you said you were inside the building. I believe you.
Can you just tell me? I did.
No, I'm not. They gave you an update.
What's going on?
That he updated you.
I'm just trying to get you.
What's your name and
I'm Officer
full?
Malone, badge number 409192.
I couldn't understand the name.
Officer Malone,
Malone.
409192.
Thank you.
Can you just tell me what's going on?
No, I don't need to do anything. I'm ready to leave
Well,
here.
right now you're
I'm
being
detained for nothing. So
Okay.
I don't
Well,
have
can you
anything to say.
provide
I don't need anything. You're not the supervisor, right?
not a supervisor.
So I don't need to repeat it all for you. That's a waste of my time and yours.
Okay, well, I mean, the sooner we can be able to identify you, the sooner we can catch you loose.
So y'all are going to punish me and keep me
not a
detained
punishment.
because you're not getting your way.
It's not a punishment.
Yeah, it is.
You're being detained and we have a legal right
For
to-
what? What's
Now
your reasonable
trespassing.
articulable suspicion that I've committed a crime?
Trespassing.
Trespassing?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you getting that? He's explained he
The
works
business-
here.
the
He's
business-
explained he worked here.
Oh, you gonna talk over me? Or can I?
Yeah, I'll talk.
explain?
No, I'm not talking to you at all.
You don't
How about that? I'm not listening to you either.
Okay. Well, right
You're just as full of shit as they are.
You need to interrupt the interview right now. Okay?
I'm not. You're interrupting. I'm silent.
You what?
Me and Todd here, we're fine. But
Who said you weren't?
I need to get you ID. We can be fine if I can get your ID. That's all it is.
What crime are you going to charge me with?
I've already gone over this with you twice, and my partner.
Then you're
here
not
just
getting my
explained it
ID.
to you. You're here
No.
on private property.
State of Tennessee, I do not have to give you my ID unless I'm charged with a separate crime.
That's not true.
It is
You're being
true.
detained for a crime.
You're being detained for
I'm- yeah,
reasonable
I'm
suspicion,
detained.
which means
Ta-da.
you do have to give me your ID.
Ta-da! No, I
Yes,
don't.
it does.
No, RAS doesn't work in
Okay,
Tennessee.
well, then you can be charged with
No.
resisting a stop.
No, I haven't resisted any
You're
stop.
resisting right now.
You're on video.
I'm resisting your wants and wishes. I'm going by the law. By law.
in the parking lot where nobody else is, okay?
Exactly, and I've explained this to you both.
Right. So why are
Normally,
you
I don't
still with
here.
me when you know what
If
we're
you give me
doing?
your ID and I can
That's
get
all
ID,
your
we'll
ego.
be
This
outta
is
here.
your ego.
Nope,
This
I
is
have
all
to do
your
this.
ego.
I have to do
No,
this.
your ego.
Okay,
It's not an ego thing. It's
It
a
is.
protocol.
It isn't.
it is.
No, it's your protocol to ask for it, but that doesn't mean I have to give it to
Yes,
you.
it does.
No.
Yes, it does.
Call your supervisor.
he's
Either
a-
arrest me for a separate crime, do what you need to do. You already know we've been talking this to death.
And you want him here because why? You don't think you have the, you don't.
Because
think
you're
you
full of
have
so we need somebody better than you in charge. That's what they're there for.
Okay. I'll get my supervisor in route.
Thank you.
He'll tell you the same thing I did.
You know, the more I think about this, the more I realize that the most disturbing part of this whole deal is that Officer Dum Dum here is actually training someone, which means that he's perpetuating the cycle of ignorance that has obviously made its way to him, and he's going to make sure that the next guy he trains passes this on to the rest of the department. Of course, Reba is 100% correct here. Tennessee does in fact have an ID statute, but it certainly does not say what this officer thinks. Reasonable articulable suspicion does not trigger an obligation to identify in Tennessee. Let's take a look at Tennessee Code Annotated 73505, Failure to Produce Identification, Arrest, Release, and Bond. When any police or peace officer of a metropolitan government or any employee of a metropolitan government authorized to enforce ordinances, laws, or regulations of a metropolitan government or charged with the duty to serve civil or criminal process asks the violator, that's an important word, for identification for the purposes of issuing a citation or civil warrant to that person. Again, important. The failure to produce or give such identification shall be grounds for the violator to be arrested by an officer authorized to make arrests pursuant to Title 40, Chapter 7. In such event, the violator shall be arrested, transported to the police station or jail, booked, photographed, and fingerprinted for identification purposes, and thereafter shall be served with the citation or civil warrant and released from custody without being required to post a bond. Important to note here, this does not provide for a separate offense, and I think that's what drives me the most crazy about Tennessee officers screwing this up. It's true that if an officer wants to issue a citation to a person and they won't provide satisfactory evidence of identification, they must be arrested and taken to the jail or the police station. Now, what do we need in order to write a citation, kids? Right, we need an underlying offense. And you want to guess what suspicion is not? Exactly, it's not an offense of any type, but definitely not an underlying offense for which you could write a citation. And if there is an underlying offense and they refuse to sign a citation, then they must be arrested and taken to a judge. But neither the ID statute nor the acknowledgement statute are designed to be punitive, and it's written in plain language right into the statute. Despite what these egomaniacs think, this statute is nothing more than a tool for adequate service of notice that the person has to appear in court. And the reason they have to be taken to jail for booking and processing under 73505 is to find out who they are, so the courts can be sure that the correct person is being summoned. Once that happens, the person is to be released without even having to post a bond. Now, the best part is yet to come. Reba gets to initiate that oh so sweet walk of shame from this entitled clown. Here it is.
Alright, ma'am. So, I've actually got what I need out of here. You and Tyler are both free to leave.
Can you apologize?
I have no reason to apologize.
Can you admit you were wrong, that I don't have to give your ID?
I need you to understand that when a police officer has reasonable suspicion, the law states we have the right to ID people.
No, you don't.
We do.
Or you would be doing it right now.
Here's what I encourage you to do.
You would
okay?
do it right now.
I already have. I've
No,
asked you for your ID at least 10 times. And you've refused every
Right,
time.
right.
So-
And then you punitively detain me just to punish me because you know I'm not going to do it.
punitive.
Yeah, that's punitive.
I encourage you to look up the statute about that
I encourage you
whenever
to.
you leave.
You're the one that's supposed to know.
And I do know.
Then you're either lying to me or you're ignorant to it.
Okay.
You choose which one looks
You can
best
believe
to
whatever
you.
you want to believe. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not
All
gonna
right.
tell you otherwise.
Bye, everybody.
You and Todd are free to leave.
Thank you.
While she isn't successful in getting an apology from him or even an acknowledgement that he was wrong, you can be sure of this. I know that he knows, that she knows, and that we all know that he knew he was wrong and he rightfully felt and looked like a dumb on the YouTubes. That's all for this one, kids. I did see a video on Reba's channel where she was attempting to file a complaint on this officer, so please go on over to her channel for follow-ups on that front. And while you're there, make her feel like the auditing queen that she is. As far as my channel, the best way you can help us grow is by subscribing and leaving a like and a comment about what you think about Miss Reba's auditing skills. With your help, I hope to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. Feel free to check out one of the other videos on my channel and let me know what you think about it too. And as always, I'd love to have your suggestions on what types of videos you'd like to see in the future. Until then, take care of yourselves, always film the police, and we'll see you next time.